Hi, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Girlfriend's Guide Podcast. I am your host, Tati J.
I'm your host, Ellie.
I want to say thank you guys for tuning in to another episode. This episode is coming out in March, and March is Women's Month. So, this episode is going to dive in, women and kind of the pressures we have and so yeah, we'll get into that. I'm actually really happy about this episode because I think it's a topic that we don't talk about too often, especially I feel like in our age group of still of the late 20s. So we'll dive into that a little bit more. But in terms of catch up, we're recording this in January. So I don't know in terms of from the last time we recorded if anything else has happened, to be honest. Anything for you, Ellie?
Guys, if you see me pressing the button, I'm trying to make sure not to talk over each other.
Yes.
Nothing new. Still grinding. Still trying to do my best out here. So
we're coming back for y'all podcast, y'all. We're recording. We're doing it. Trying to be consistent. I want to say a lot of you guys have been like, so what's going on? Even though we did do a live and say we are coming back, it's still been the like, so where are the episodes? I'm like, y'all, I'm gonna need y'all to like simmer down a little bit,
Let's relax a little bit.
Just relax a little bit. It's coming. It's coming. I know you guys miss us on your car rides to work. I get it. Because when my podcasts don't drop, I'm like, y'all just interrupted my whole flow. So what's going on? But by now, you guys have listened to the episode that dropped in February, kind of explaining mentally why we need to take a break, where I was, So I think you guys would understand by the time you hear this episode. But as right now, where you guys haven't heard, y'all on our backs. Thank you. But we're coming. We promise. So to dive into this episode, Women's Month. I feel like, and I was just honestly having this conversation with one of my friends, which kind of prompted this, like, oh, this would be a perfect topic. So I feel like being in your late 20s, you are in a stage of, oh my God, everyone's getting married, everyone's having kids. Oh my God, what about me? But then you're also seeing the stage of, yo, she just bought a house. She just graduated with another degree. She just got a promotion at her job. Yo, she just hit 6 figures. Blah, blah, blah. But I personally, at this age group right now, I want to say late 20s to early 30s, I don't see it being a combination. I see it being one or the other. And I think right now, specifically for me, because I did just complete this major accomplishment of passing my boards. I graduated grad school. I'm now certified nurse practitioner. And you know what? Shout out to people who noticed that, because I was just telling Ellie yesterday I went to an event, a birthday party from one of our mutual friends. And then one of our mutuals like, yo, like, I see you doing big things, da da da. And I was like, wait, what are you talking about? Because in my head, I'm like, we haven't done a podcast episode or made a podcast announcement in forever. And I'm just like, I haven't really done anything in Tati's testimonies and whatever. So it's like, what are you talking about? And it's like, I just had posted earlier that month that like I officially passed my boards. And then another one of our mutuals like, yo, I see you over here on flyers for poetry, because I did an open mic in December. And I'm just like, okay, so I am like, sometimes you forget who you are and you forget that you're accomplishing things,
Don't forget, baby.
So
Don't forget.
period, don't forget who you are. This is also why I always recommend have a blessings jar, because then when it happens, put it in, because sometimes you forget who you are until you see that jar fill up and you read through, you're just like, wow, I really did that, I really am her. So tip right there. But yeah, so going back to the original topic, I don't really see all of these accomplishments and these two sides of these the equation like happening together. So I divided it into like professional and boss mode in terms of career, education, degrees, cars, house, things like that, and personal in more so family, kids, relationship, things like that. And like I said, I think it's because I recently just accomplished such a big I recently achieved such a big accomplishment in that aspect of education and career and professionalism. And I'm in the process now well, by March. So if everything goes well, we're recording this in January, but like if everything goes well, by the time you guys heard this episode, would have already signed a contract for me to work as a pediatric nurse practitioner. Right now, it's still in the works, but I'm pretty sure good things are happening. I'm just kind of waiting for that official offer. But hopefully, by the time you guys hear this, all of that would have been done already. So all of that is good, and I'm just like, yo, thinking about my life at 27, I'm good. I'm set. I'm straight. Like, I'm okay. And then I was just like, oh, wait, there's this other whole part of my life that I still want that I haven't checked anything off of at all. And it's just like, how do I find the balance? And I was literally sitting down and thinking, and I was like, and I had to have a serious conversation with God and with myself about what do you want the next 5 years of your life to look like? And to be
Mm,
honest, I haven't been in a relationship. Like, I got out of my relationship at 22 years old. And like, that was a real relationship, but that wasn't an adult relationship. So it's like, I have not been in that season of my life since I was a teenager. And I was
mhm,
just kind of like, what do you want your life to look like? After the breakup, my life was just like, okay, girl, find like I just graduated college. I just passed my boards at that time. You got to find a job as a nurse. You want to work. You
mhm,
know what I mean? Eventually, you want to go back to school. You want to just live your life, do that, work, go back to school and be done. I did that. Now, where do I want to go now? And it's
yeah,
like I said, there's goals like I want to buy a house, I want to do this. Do I care about getting a new car? It's whatever. Goldie's still driving. Goldie's gonna ride till she can't ride no more. And that's why I'm gonna ride her till she can't ride no more. So my next big goal is a house, but that is something that if you listen to our past episode, we kind of talked about there's certain things like if you want to move out, if you want to do like you have to start setting yourself up for that. So I'm in the process of saving. That's something that's a goal that's continually building. So it's kind of like right now, it's a goal that I'm working on by saving for, but there's nothing active I can do towards that in this moment. So it's like, so
mhm,
then what do you want to do with your life? And I'm
mm,
just kind of like, I want a family.
yeah.
I'm ready to start checking that off. And I'm just like, but how do I do that? How do I transition to now the woman who wants the family and kids when you've been the woman who's been on this power hunger mode, degree, job, da 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 da? I don't know how to do that. And it's just
Well,
so crazy. Go ahead.
I do want to say we all have seasons in our life, right? So
Hmm.
your focus was Tati needs to get her RN. Tati needs to go back to school and get her NP, right? And God knew that was the purpose for you, and God knew that's what you wanted, right? But here you are, your next purpose in life, your next season in life. Your next season is that you want a family. In the same way that was the next that's a chapter in your life is the same way you start focusing on those things and all those things will fall into place. So it's just like I do agree. I feel like as women, correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like as black women, I feel like we're the only one that I see so like so divided with the professionalism, and then you'll see there's another black woman that has their like the future, their husband, kids, right? And they're either I don't know stay at homes or there's no anything else that's driven. But then you see the professionalism more driven. They're like in their bag. They're doing this, catching another degree, you know. And I feel like how is it that black women we can't have both? Like we can't do both. Like why can't I get the degree and then find the husband and then get the degree, graduate, husband, kids? Why does it have to be okay, now I'm done with the degree. Now I gotta go find a good man, but it's taking me like 7+ years.
And it's like, I do want to normalize starting a family later in life because that's okay. 30 is not old as like, oh my god, like, so I do want to normalize that, but it's like, especially when you mention black women, a lot of the girls in my high school, in our college, it's the white ones that are have that family aspect already down packed. And it's a lot of the black girls are just like, you see the other side of the accomplishments. And I was looking at this TikTok, and it was a black girl who
Girl.
said, like,
Yes.
white girls are going to college to
Yes.
get their MRS degree, their Mrs. degree. They know what classes to sit into. Granted, am I saying every white girl? No. Am I saying white girls are not driven? No, none of that. But there's a difference, because why is it I'm not seeing any of my black friends accomplishing their personal goals? And
Most
then we're seeing only the white ones doing it at this
correct.
age.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but is the black woman in hustle culture is way different than white women in hustle culture. I don't even think white women have hustle culture. I feel like once black women we graduate, it's like, okay, let's go find a job. Let's make sure that we can support for ourselves, right? Where black white women, some of them they graduate, they already moving in with their boyfriend. Now it's just like both of them. It's either one person's getting the bag, the other person's just like, okay, let me get a good job. But one person's either making the money and they're relying on the other person. Where for us, I feel like we always have to make sure that we're good and that we're not depending. I've heard a lot of, I've seen just on social media, a lot of people that I graduated with that were white that moved in with their boyfriend after graduation. I'm like, how? After $20 we're making? And I'm just like, me, I wouldn't even feel safe and secure yet to move in with somebody with just making $19, $20.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just
You know,
like,
so go ahead.
I feel like us, we do work, we do hustle to make sure. Because black women, it's like, okay, we're done with our bachelor. Bachelor can't do anything for us, baby. Masters.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
what on to the next thing. I for a good while, like after I graduated, I was so focused on school. Like I
Yeah.
knew I had to finish getting my bachelor's, it's master's. To be honest, if a guy came along, yeah, I would be happy. But am I really
Mm-hmm.
gonna invest my time to really focus on finding a man? I knew that I knew the future I wanted for myself. I knew I wanted to take care of myself. I knew that
Yourself, yeah.
I wanted to move out and live on my own before I have a husband. How am I gonna do that? Is he gonna pay my rent while he's living in his place? I knew I had to get a real good paying job in order for me to do that where I am now.
You know what I think? I think, unfortunately, as black women, we do not have the privilege to depend on black men the way white women have the privilege to depend on white
Ooh.
men. And when
Ooh,
you don't have that privilege and you have to
wait, wait,
build
wait,
yourself up,
wait, wait, wait. Tati, you cannot just drop that like that. We
it's
have
the
some black men.
truth.
Girl, you just dropped it too. You gotta be gentle. We got men ego on here. You gotta be
I
gentle
mean,
with it.
when we
I
talk about this, it's not
okay,
every single one.
because people coming at us. Okay, we have a lot of guys that be coming out. Oh, it's not every guy. It's not. So we gotta be more specific. It's not a lot of men.
But I think at this point, at the same time, man, like, if you're that dumb to think that we think every single man in the world is the same, you're too dumb to listen to this
But
podcast.
but I do want to say something. A white man leaving college and a black man leaving college, baby, it's not the same thing. I remember when I was still in college, and there was a guy at that time that I liked, and the plan was that he was supposed to take me out on a date, and he was
Mhm.
upfront. He was like, "Hey, I'm broke right now," and
Mhm.
I was just like, "Yo," but in my head, I'm like, "How you broke?" In my head, I'm like, "How you broke if you just finished college? Like, you should have a
Yeah.
job." But now that I'm out of college, I'm like, now that I finished college and started work, I can understand how he didn't have enough funds. But a white man leaving college is not the same as a black man leaving college, where a white man is going back to Tim and Kathy, his parents, who have mutual funds, who have all this, who can end up buying him, who can end up supporting him for the next 6 months. Where the pressure of a black man living at home, where his parents, who he's probably first generation, his parents who are working paycheck to paycheck, he was the one that had to pay for his college. So when he's done with college, he doesn't have extra funds to rely on. Where a
Exactly.
white boy that was in college had extra funds. So it's just like, I know we can't depend on them because they don't have enough
And
when they finish
that
college.
was going to be my next point. It's not because multiple reasons why. But and I know when people hear me say black women can't depend on black men the same way a white woman can depend on white men, they're gonna be like, "Oh my god, black man slander." But let me finish. Let me finish. Minus the fuckery. I'm
Mm,
gonna call out black. I mean, granted, white men do fuckery too, but I don't date them. So, and I don't want one. So, minus the fuckery that black men do, not all, but the cheating, the gaslighting, the manipulation, minus all of that, right? Minus all of that. But to Ellie's extent, we can't depend on you because where are you guys? In a jail, in a system that was created to keep black men down. Now you got niggas in jail for selling weed and I don't know the grams and ounces. I don't know the least amount, but they're in jail for 20 years. And we got Brittany Griner. Yes, she came home great, but it's like you're still in jail. Like you're in a position
yeah.
where you're meant to be caught and caged. And unfortunately,
Yeah.
a lot of you guys have been caught in cage. You're in a position, like Ellie said, your parents are working paycheck to paycheck. So the minute you graduated high school, there was no college. It was go find a job. And
Hmm.
no disrespect to anyone that who doesn't have a degree, but also respect the sisters who were able to get a degree and require that as one of their requirements as well. That is okay. I also do not like the pressure of black women being forced to quote unquote settle and get a man without a degree. And the only reason I'm saying it's settling is not because he doesn't have a degree, it's because that's not what she desires. So now she
Yep.
has to alter her desires to fit your ego, and that is not fair. Like I said, this is not downplaying anyone who wants a degree, but do not downplay the ones who got it and want someone who has that as well. Because everyone has their preferences and choices, but I also feel like because society has made it so hard for black men to come up and it's harder to find black men with a degree, it's harder to find this, we're expected to settle because society has put you guys in an unfair position. Hello, we are also in an unfair position. The same way you guys are clawing yourselves up to do something, so are we. So we should not have to be forced to lower our standards because unfortunately society has forced you guys to stay at a playing field and it's hard for you guys to get up. That is not our fault.
Yeah,
Stop
I agree.
expecting black women to change because society keeps you guys in a chokehold. That is unfair completely. But that does not mean I have to change what I want because of that. Just that was my
I
little
think
rant.
I think black women understand what they have to do in this system. We understand that black women are the most educated women in this world. And to be honest, I know that I had to get another degree, especially in my studies and especially in my field, in order for me to reach the bracket that I want to reach, in order for me to, all right, I deserve a raise because, you know, I knew that I had to get another degree. And the reason why we keep chasing degrees and keep chasing degrees because it allows us to get into certain rooms that we know that we were allowed to. Where, to be honest, I have a master's degree. There's white girls in there that have bachelor's degree. I don't know how much they're making, but they're probably making the same as me. But I remember someone said to me, always make sure that you have a higher education than the white woman that's in the room, because it's going to be easier for her to get into the room compared to you. At least for you, they look at her, okay, she has her master's, let's allow her in. Compared to a white woman, a bachelor's will be well enough. Most of the women in my field mostly just have a bachelor's, but I knew a bachelor's was not going to cut it for me. I knew that in order for me to be in the rooms and have the respect that I know that I deserve, I need to walk around and be like, yeah, I do have a master's. So what? And I feel like black black women, black men, they haven't figured out. Some of them, some of them have figured out. They realize that it is hustle culture for them. They have to find that side hustle that can allow them to beat the system. Because, to be honest, if it's not an engineer or a doctor or certain fields for black men, the the salaries ain't salarying. And here you are, a black woman who's a clinical therapist, who is in the field of public health and who works in research, who's making 90 to 100K, and then you have a man that is making 40K. I'm not saying this to hurt anybody, but I'm just saying we gonna need there needs to be a little extra somewhere. So what else can you do to get there? I think black women realize, in order for me to get where I need to get, I need to do another 4 years, 3 years. I need to pay an extra 40K after I graduate with my bachelor's. I had to pay 41K. I remember that because that came out of my pocket. I had to save like crazy, pay 41K for my master's, but I knew that it could get me to where I am now. So for black men, I'm saying, what can you do to get you to where you want to be? And for I think a lot of them are realizing, it's like, you got to find what's your side hustle. You got to find what else that you can do to beat the system.
And I think it's also like, because you mentioned how, okay, like, yeah, we graduated from college, let's move in together. I remember my ex was talking about one of the plans could be like, okay, you're graduated, once you start working, da da da, we could do that. And I was like, nigga, what? No. Because, like, I got to go back to school. I got to do this. I got to build myself up before we can come together. You know what I mean?
Let me
And
ask
I
you this.
feel,
Let me ask you this, and you can answer, and you might not answer. Do you feel like you could have depended on him?
no.
Because you're gonna go back to school, honey, so you can't work. Like the way you depend on your mom to know that you're gonna have a house, you're gonna have electricity, you're gonna have food. Do you feel like you could have depended on him then?
I wouldn't be a nurse practitioner if I moved in.
And also, do you feel like also he didn't have people, he didn't have support? Like, do you
Hmm.
feel like you had support to back him up? God forbid y'all both couldn't take care of yourself.
No. And I think I had a support team. And it's like, why would I leave my support team to go to no support team? I don't think we could have supported each other the way we needed it to be, you know?
Mm,
So, and then it's like, you have to sacrifice. And that's a thing that I feel like it leads to. You have to sacrifice. Granted, we weren't meant to be or anything, but what if this was supposed to be my husband? Like, we sometimes we have to sacrifice the personal to build ourselves. And it's like, I just feel like no one else has to do that. And
no
like,
one else.
and I'm telling you, dating, every reason we just listed for dating as a black woman is why dating as a black woman is harder than dating as any other race. Because we have things beyond our control that is literally setting us up for failure. We
Hmm.
have it. I want a man who is accomplished. I want a man with a degree, or I want a man who is successful in his career, successful in his field. I want all of this. These men aren't being set up to achieve these things. Some of it their fault, some of it not. And like I
Hmm.
said, but why do I? Because I know this, am expected to change the trajectory of where I want my life to be in order to get a man. Like, then now I'm gonna resent you.
For
Now
me,
I'm gonna have kids with you, and now I'm stuck with you, and now I'm looking back at my life like, damn, I did not. And that's especially after me failing my boards and going through what I went through and passing them. I did not go through all of this to be unhappy. I did not go through all of this to not be able to take the family vacations I want because my man is feeling insecure because he can't afford his. I did not
hmm,
do all of that to
I
settle.
know, I know during marriage they say through richer through poorer, through richer to poorer, poorer to richer. Um, But listen, long time ago, I had a little talk with God, and I said, God, this is where I want to be in my life. I am going to do whatever it takes for me to make sure that I am set. And when I get into my relationship, I am okay with my partner. I knew that the struggle bus is not for me. I worked hard enough to get where I am right now. Like, I work hard. I like a specific lifestyle. I'm really not, when I say I like a specific lifestyle, Tati can agree. We're both not high expensive type of, no. But I like to know that I'm stable and I'm okay. I cannot, I already knew I cannot date a guy that I didn't feel was stable. Until then, until I found him, I'm going to stay in my bag. I'm going to focus on my education until he comes along. If you come along, you have no education for me, and I feel like you don't have a stable job, it was not going to work out, respectfully.
It was not going to work out. And the thing is, even with me at 27 years old, some of my requirements I feel like are what? That's a requirement that should already be a given without even saying. But nowadays, you got to say it. It's like at this age, I mean, I feel like you should have a car. If you don't, explain to me why. Did you just sell it because you're in your last semester of grad school and you had to make that sacrifice of this is my tuition money? I understand that. That it has to make sense. It has to make sense. Do you not have
Mm-hmm.
a car and you're not saving for one either? Do you not have a plan
Mm-hmm.
on when you want one? Do you not have a car, not saving, but yet want a Mercedes? When you can just go to the auction yard and get you a 2002 Honda, but that doesn't fit your image. Like, what are we
Mm-hmm.
doing? Do you need to have your own place? No. Why? Because I don't have my own place. So I can't be picky. Would it be nice? Yes. But now, once I have my own place, is that requirement going to change? I require what I have. I require what I can give. And a lot of these men who get mad at your requirements is because they themselves cannot meet them. And that is a you problem. That is not a me problem. And do not project, baby, because I will hurt your feelings. And I will not
Mm-hmm.
hurt your feelings by calling you broke. I will hurt your feelings by you being so insecure that you cannot touch a woman like me. Don't play me. Don't play with me. Don't play with
No,
me.
don't play with me.
Don't
I
play with me.
literally, I worked so hard. I will continue. That's why I couldn't just see myself with somebody that just didn't have a purpose or have a plan for himself. I worked hard, baby, to get where I am. I climbed the ladder to reach where I am. Like, not for me not to have some stability. God forbid something happens to me. I know that if I was to lose my job, I know that I could depend on you. If you were to lose your job, I want you to know you can depend on me too. But not me not feeling the security in this relationship, knowing that you can't take care of us.
Because
I
let's
don't
talk about, okay, let's really talk about it. Love is not enough. It's not. Because let's really talk about it. If I'm over here making 115K, you're making 40K. You lose your job, okay. Okay, we can make it work. You know, we can make it work. I lose my job, there's no making it work because you're only making 40K and I was making the
baby,
115.
baby,
There,
finance.
we can't at that point we can't depend on each other.
If I'm making 115K, baby, that 40K you're making, that's going into our savings. Baby, I'm paying the bills, I'm paying the house. At this point, we are. That 115 is we. That 40K is we, but that's going somewhere. That's going into the savings. That's going through insurance. That's going through something because it can still cover something. But know that
Something.
that 115 can still cover us.
But that's what I'm saying. So it's like you guys have to have some type of balance in every aspect because realistically, if I me losing my job shouldn't tank us and it will if you're only making that 40. And for the men who are offended, same it goes vice versa. I'm speaking in this in general. I'm speaking this in partnership. You guys got to think about how this really going to work. because we've learned a recession is clearly coming. A recession is clearly coming, and we've learned from COVID, life can literally pause and everyone loses their jobs.
Yeah.
Realistically, when there's such a big difference in money, how can you really depend on your partner if something happens to
You
yourself?
always have to both be moving up, because my concern is, at this age, my got my whole hand in my face. At this grown age, if you have an education, I'm sorry if I'm hurting someone, because to think about where I started in life when I started college and how I worked my way up, how are you only, I'm sorry if I'm hurting someone. I'm sorry for, how are you only making 40K? No, for real. Like if I met someone, depending on if you graduated the same time as me, depending on your field too, but I'm just saying, like, am I wrong for saying that?
There's no education. There was
So
no
okay,
degree obtained. And that,
there
and
was
to me, in that is instance, and you know what? You need a degree to make money? No. But I hate what this generation is doing. Okay. I love the aspect influencer. I love all of that. Sis, I want to make money from it too. Support Tati's testimonies, y'all. Make your money. Make
yep.
your money. But do not discredit what a degree can do for you. Do not
Mm,
discredit what a degree can do. And I feel like, especially some of these men, not all, and not even just men, social media in this life is downgrading a degree. Baby, I worked hard for that. That shit was expensive. And
mhm,
because of that little paper you're downgrading, I'm able to make X amount.
mhm.
So in a situation with the 40K, in my opinion, they probably don't have a degree. They're
Yeah,
probably
because
just
there's
they're
no way you.
working in a field without a degree, which is great. Like I said, you don't need a degree to make money. But when I tell you I want my man to have a degree because I know a degree can open certain financial doors, don't be mad at that because
I
my
know
degree opened certain financial doors.
it's it, and I know a degree. If you have a degree and you come to me as, you're pursuing me, and you tell me that you are making 40K, I'm gonna be like, well, how can we get it to 80K, honey? That, I'm gonna give. I'm not saying I'm gonna give you a chance, but I am a woman of working towards goal. I am 100%. So, honey, you're at 40K. It's possible. How can you get to 60? Your salary should be going up 20K yearly. How can we get you up to 60? How can we get you up to 80? Because ça me peut le faire. Ça me peut le faire. 40K.
Literally, what am I going to do in this
What
position?
am I gonna do? Because I'm sorry. But then if someone listening to this feels hurt, I say that that's our preference.
And also, I just also want to say, me and Ellie are saying this in a place of privilege. We are.
No
We
privilege.
grew up
Absolutely
with
not.
parents who paid for our school. We grew up with parents who worked paycheck to paycheck to
I
give us life.
yeah. But
We get
let me say
that.
this. I remember there was a point making at least 40K. I remember start right off college, absolutely. But that's not where I stayed, baby. If someone tells me right fresh out of college they're making that, I'm like, okay, but what's your next plan? Because you can't survive off that. Not in, especially not in Boston. Not especially not in this economy. Do you see how much eggs are? Do you see how much milk is? And the only reason
It's
I was
not
able to even survive off that is because I lived at home. And with that
exactly.
40K, I was paying like my bills and being able to save for grad school.
Hmm.
I
And
made
that's
that.
the thing.
I made it work for myself.
We have that privilege, and we get not everyone has the home they can do that. A lot of people have bills that they have to pay. So education versus livelihood. I get it. Everyone's scenario is different. So this is not bashing everyone's scenario, but this is also me telling you what I would like. Like
Hmm.
this is just what I would want. And that's just that. So back to the real conversation of yeah, so my professional life, I'm done. I'm good.
Yeah.
Personal, finding this man, this husband to have these three children. Um, Yeah. Pray for me, y'all. It's hard. So then back
It's
to the
very
little bit of
dirty in the
hmm?
streets. It's very
What happened?
dirty in the streets. I said it's very dirty in these streets.
That's what I was about to say. Back to the whole fuckery of it now. Back to the toxic side of this episode. We already talked about, yep, the jail systems and black, systemic oppression and all that, what makes it hard for us to find a man. The men that are left, the men who are not in jail, the men who are professionally established and financially established, y'all doing fuck nigga shit.
Mm.
One thing niggas gonna do is nigga, and y'all nigging harder than I've ever seen y'all nigga before.
At this
And it
point,
hurts my
it's a
feelings.
pandemic. It's a pandemic.
It really hurts my feelings because I'm supposed to choose out of y'all. Like this is what I have less to choose from. Granted, like, disclaimer, not every man, I get it, not every man, but this
Mhm.
is what I have left to choose from.
This is it.
This is
This is
it.
it. I was literally talking to Tati this morning. I was like, if I was still single, I would accept
That this
singleness
is
for.
my life, my singleness.
I would accept because what I'm bringing the term bring to the table. What I bring to the table, baby, it's not for everybody.
And what you bring
Someone,
here is an
someone,
STD.
yes, someone good, somebody's son, somebody's good and faithful, respectful son deserves that. And y'all don't deserve a lot of these good women out here. Too good.
And
Too
I don't
good
got
for y'all.
time. Like,
Mm-mm.
and it's like it really comes down to like I worked way too hard to let you play in my face.
Hmm. And
Way too hard.
it's sad because a lot of these women, all they want to do at this point, after accomplishing so much, is to find a good man. It's to find a good man and build a life. But here we
Mhm.
are. Here we are.
Here we are. And back in early in the conversation when I was just like, I feel like, I had to sacrifice my personal for my professional to establish myself. I was like, when I was interviewing for this job, I told myself months before I even graduated, I'm like, yo, it's time to like, you want this husband, you want this thing. How does that realistically work for you? And I was just like, I can't work full time. I haven't
Mm,
worked full time since September 2021 because I had to do clinicals for 2 semesters, and then they gave away my full-time position during that, so I was only working 20 hours a week. Then summer happened. Girl, I got my 20 hours. I'm living life. It's summertime. I'm celebrating. I graduated. Then it was time to studied, can't study. I have the privilege of my mom understanding me, my mom paying for me, my mom loving me enough to do that, where I'm studying. I'm not working Monday through Friday. I got to study for this test. Didn't pass, had to start that again. I'm finally in a position now I can work full time if I want to, pick up extra shifts, which I'm doing because I have a trip coming up. That's really what it is, baby. It's the trip. That's why they see my face more. But now I'm able to do that, and I was just like, okay, this position is a full time position, which means 40 hours. And in my field and in my specific job I'm interviewing for, that would mean roughly seeing, I want to say 70 to 90, 95, maybe 100 on a crazy week patients a week. That's
mm-hmm.
like lab work, notes, all of that I have to do per patient. A lot of these patients that we see, Haitian, just come into the country, immigrant, a lot of work needs to be done. And I know that. And I realized, like, I sat with myself and I was like, honestly, can you see yourself doing this Monday through Friday, only having 2 days off and being able to function in every other aspect of your life? And I was like, no,
Mm,
I couldn't do that. So when we talked about the position, they offered me 3 days in the clinic and 2 days working hybrid at a school that I did clinical at, which I would love. And then it turns out they couldn't offer me that anymore. So then it would be fully at the clinic. And I'm like, no. And I had to really talk to myself. It's like, you have the power to negotiate and you have the power to set up this next phase of your life in a way that's conducive to what you want to achieve. And
Right.
me, through therapy, I'm people pleasing. I don't speak up for myself a lot. I'm just kind of like, okay, like if that's what you need me to do, I'm gonna do it, blah blah blah. And I'm really working on speaking up for myself, even though that makes me uncomfortable, and even though that may make someone else uncomfortable. And I reached out to the director that was doing the interview process. We already had the interview, and I reached out, I was like, hey, would love to take 15 minutes to read to talk about this position once again and what it would look like. And I told her at this point, I would love to work here. The position sounds great. I think I would be a great fit, but I think it would be 32 hours is something that I'm looking for. And she agreed. And I was just like, okay, it just took me stepping up to actually say something. But I made that decision, like I said, knowing that if I truly want to dedicate this season of my life in finding the right one, meaning I have to go through a lot of wrong ones, I have to go on the dates, I have to get ready, I have to go through the disappointments, I have to go through the tears, like I have to go through all of that. I need to give myself space to go through all of that because especially as black women, we hear all the time, you guys are so career driven, but you guys don't care for your man. You guys don't care for yourself. You guys let that other ball drop and I don't want to do that. I don't want
Mm.
to let that other ball drop. I don't want to forget about my life outside of work. I don't want my work to be my life. I want my work to be a piece of my life.
Oh, I love that for you. That's
Thank
amazing. I
you.
think I wish I heard a lot of more women say, "Okay, my professional aspect and goals are complete for now. I want to focus on finding, my husband." I think we're afraid to like actually use the term my husband, and your words are very powerful because I remember when I was finally like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready now, God. I want to find my man. And let me tell you, once you say that, you got to be ready. You got to be ready. You got to be ready so you don't got to get ready. And I remember once I literally had said, okay, I'm ready to find my husband, my boyfriend came into my life. So it's just like, well, he's not my husband yet, but it's okay to manifest a little bit. you know? So yeah, I think more I wish more women we, had say that. I think we're embarrassed to,
I was just
express
gonna
that.
say that.
Why are we embarrassed? Because I for a while I never would be like, oh, I want to find my husband. To me, it sounds silly. I don't know why it sounds silly. It's even saying that.
I ain't gonna hold you. And then here comes
Yeah,
niggas be
it's
embarrassing. Niggas
it
be
is.
embarrassing.
But it's like,
They
you know
embarrass
what's so
you.
you know what's so scary about it is that education, going after that education is much easier than actually focusing on finding the right man. Oh my gosh. Cuz whew, it takes a lot of trials and tribulations, man, to like actually find a really good guy. And that means that at least with your education, it's gonna be some tough nights. There's gonna be some nights crying. There's gonna be some nights not passing a test. It messes with you emotionally, but man, like, finding a guy, investing in him, and finding that he's not a good guy and letting go has to be really tough. And then going through that cycle over and over again,
Hmm.
it's not. Mentally, physically, emotionally, it's exhausting.
You know why going after an education is easier than going after love? Because you signed up to do it and you're
Yeah.
guaranteed a positive outcome. You're guaranteed a degree. You're guaranteed that degree is most of the cases is going to open doors for you to get a good job, which is going to get you money. You put that effort in a man that is not the right one. Me
Whew.
and I was just talking about this. The way a man can ruin your
Mm.
life. And I don't mean it in a sense of, oh yeah, cause y'all just saying that because he cheated on you, because he like what, because he didn't he beats you. Like the mental and emotional impact that a human being that you love and care for and invest in can
Mm,
have on you when they do you wrong, or even when they don't do you wrong and it just doesn't work out, is not
mm,
anything you sign up for. It's not anything you can prepare for. When you're taking a test, you can prepare for that test. You study, you
yeah,
prepare, you take it, and you pass. That's
yeah.
it. Like, there's a formula to that. There's no formula to a relationship. There's no guaranteed outcome. You are trusting another human to love you enough to factor you into their daily decisions when some of these
Mm,
humans don't even factor themselves or love themselves enough to do that.
mm,
So now I'm trusting you to
mm,
love me enough when you
mm.
don't even love yourself enough? How?
It's hard. That's why I would pick over and over and over again on getting a PhD, going to medical school, than actually allowing myself to put my heart out there, knowing that I can get hurt.
Hmm.
I told her, I'm like, if this relationship don't work out, this one right here,
Mhm.
this one right here, this is it. We single for life, like
And
life,
I
baby.
know.
I can't allow hurt. I can't. I cannot. I can't do it. I can't do it. And it's just like a lot of women are really putting. They have this life. They have this amazing professional life, and here they are with their personal life on finding a man. It's just like we can't get it right.
You
They can't
can't.
get it right, and they deserve, like, all the women that I'm possibly thinking of. They deserve amazing men.
Mhm.
They do. And half the guys I've seen some of my friends get with or be with, it's just like, this is what's outside
Mm.
God. God don't.
And
This is what you're
devil's
providing.
advocate,
This is not God.
devil's
I honestly
advocate.
don't think. I don't think this is what God is providing. I don't think. I don't think God's providing this.
I feel like, and literally, we just admitted it. It's scary. We're scared, and it's like, a lot of men say that you let that last one mess up a good one in terms of the next because you're not. Oh, and you guys are right. You guys are right. You guys are right. And a lot of women, unfortunately, do not heal from those situations and carry that into a next situation. And that's on us women. We need to be more accountable. We need to be more accountable and also understanding that sometimes we allow ourselves to be in these bad positions because it's comfortable. It's comfortable to be in a bad place. And sometimes we always we always put together uncomfortability with pain and bad, and it's like sometimes uncomfortability could be the best place you're in because it's somewhere safe, it's somewhere peace. Comfort does not always equal safety, and I
No.
think we always put those two together. So we stay in situations that are a lot a lot longer than we should have. And then now a good guy comes and it's uncomfortable because we're not used to that good guy. We're not used to that. So that's uncomfortable. And we always put together uncomfortability with lack of safety, uncomfortability with being bad. And it's
Yeah.
like, sis, sit in that uncomfortability and realize why you're uncomfortable because you've never experienced something so good.
Yeah.
Like, it is okay, and we need to take that, which is also this, we need a therapy thing to sponsor us because the way we're pushing therapy, because you have to work on yourself in order to even get to that record. The only reason I can talk like this is because I'm in therapy and I've unlocked these things, and I've unleashed these things from my old relationship that I don't want to bring into my new relationship. And it's just like, you have to do the work on yourselves. And when I tell you, being bitter forever doesn't hurt anyone but you.
It's not it.
Doesn't hurt anyone but you.
It's not it. When I I remember when I got into my current relationship, I had to tell myself that I had to really put the past behind. Because if you don't put the past behind, you'll find it in your current situation. Even while you're getting to know the person, you're like, like, you'll find things, suspicious things that you found in your previous situation. You'll be like, but then that's not allowing yourself to fully. It was me taking a chance again of getting hurt, 100%. I took that chance, but I really was like, God, this one, it gotta be it. Because I literally put my all. Like, If I had taken the hurt that I had felt like months before and brought it into the relationship I am now, it wouldn't have worked 100%. Because I would have been an angry, bitter, um, what you like, not the girl that I wanted to be, 100%. But I really allowed myself to like, all right, let me get a like a new slate completely, Ellie. We're gonna completely feel this out. Try to forget, try to forget what you went through, and let's really fill this out and give this guy a chance. And that's what I had to do. Because if you let the hurt build up and you really allow the hurt to enter into situations that you try to like, actually build a real relationship in, it's gonna impact you. It's gonna affect you so much. You really have to really put the past behind and be like, all right, this one, I'm really going to try and not let any of my past really impact me or really affect the situation. It's one of the hardest decisions because in the back of your head you're like, okay, this one gonna hurt me again, but you just gotta really be like, okay, what about if it is end up good? That's what you gotta really tell yourself. It's like a over mind over, I don't know. You gotta control it. You gotta be like, okay, things can turn out good. Things will be good. You gotta tell yourself because one thing your heart can control. Your heart can be like, oh, things are gonna be bad. Your anxiety starts building up. He's gonna hurt you again. But you really gotta control and be like, things are gonna be okay. Things are gonna work out, and just hope for the best. It's a
And
scary game.
it is. One thing that I feel like for me personally, I've noticed, and I think maybe more people who are religious could possibly relate to this more, is that I am on, and only my close friends know this. I'm on a personal journey with God with this husband situation. We
Maybe.
got we got a timeline, we got written out prayers, we have things going on with this. And if y'all know me, I love TV. I love TV. I love watching TV shows. I love watching ratchet TV shows. Like I love all of that. And I'm gonna watch it all. I'm gonna watch it all. One thing I cannot watch is Blueface and Krishan. I can't watch their show. I can't watch their interviews. If I see it on the Shade Room, I'm just like, I literally was just like, what the fuck is this shit? And typically, I would watch stuff like that, like no problem. And I just feel like it is such an example of a horrible, toxic relationship that because I am on this personal journey with God, I can't even fill my head with something like that. I
Mhm.
can't. And it's just kind of like, and I feel like a lot of people don't understand that already we're hearing stories from our friends. Already we're traumatized. We have PTSD through situations we see and situations we know our friends have been through. So already my guard is up based off my own personal history. My guard is up based on my friends' history. My guard is up based off of what I see on social media going on in relationships. And it's like, we don't have any good examples. And I think as women, we go into the relationship so much with it's okay to have a guard up, but already expecting such a negative experience because that's all we're surrounding ourselves with. Versus imagine how different we would enter these relationships if we only heard good, if we only saw marriages that last, if we only saw TV shows that showed, yes, real life marriages that do have drama, but it's not this Krishan and Blue. It's not what this is. Imagine how much impact that would have. And in our last episode, when we were talking about Black History Month and in the man who lost his life and how we're becoming so numb to these shootings, and it's just like, and then when we do see it, it brings our environment down, and how when now we're in front of cops. I've never had a situation where a cop has pulled a gun on me or where I felt like, my life was almost taken. But guarantee when I get pulled over by cops, the last two times I ever got pulled over by a cop in the past 5, 6 years, I was like, oh my God, I might die. That's not based off my experience. That's based off the experiences I've seen and I've consumed around me. So that's why I'm going into that situation with already so nervous. So of course, if I'm seeing and hearing all these negative relationships, I'm going into it with that energy. I'm going into it expecting it to have a negative outcome because that's all I see. That we're human. That's what our bodies do.
We
And I
have.
just feel like we really got to start when you're on a
Mhm.
mission to accomplish certain things, you really have to start surrounding yourselves with what you really want. And that's why I really feel like I hate them so much as a couple. Like I can't watch them. And I'm like, Tati, this is not you. You love the messy shit. You love watching things like this. And I really feel like because I'm on this journey, it's like I can't be I can't control what my friends go through. You know, like shit happens, I'm gonna be there for them. But what I can control on the outside of seeing this negative toxicity in these relationships, and I know it's gonna impact me, I can't. So
Mhm.
y'all really need to take a moment to really look at your environment.
Yeah, I remember. I remember back when we used to be around certain guys, and they used to tell us, "Oh, like, you know, oh, this is crazy that this is what you want in a guy. A guy's always gonna cheat. A guy's always gonna do this. It doesn't matter what you do." And it was like all that they were pouring into us and saying, "Man, I used to go home on my drive home, like, what? There's no way." There was no hope for me. I was like, there's no way I can find a guy because if these guys out here are saying there's no possible way I can find a good guy, these good guys don't exist, and they know about themselves, they know what they do, and I know what they do. So I'm like, if they're saying that, then I guess it's true. I guess there's not really good guys out there for me. It's like I'm telling them like, oh, like I'm not allowing a guy to cheat on me, and they're like, well, it's gonna happen. What? That's what you're feeding my soul? That's not good for my soul. So I just had to be like, all right, let me start seeing you guys once in a while. It's a good I love that group of guys. They're amazing. Love them 100%. But when they were saying things like that to us, I just felt like I had to pull back because I did not want to feed my soul with that. I want to be told that, yes, Ellie, you can find an amazing black man out there that is going to respect you, that is going to be loyal, that is going to treat you well, treat you great, and that can take care of you and provide you with the security that you need. And yes, there are guys out there that are bad, but know that there is a guy out there for you, and I hope that you find it. That's what I want to hear.
That's what
That's
we
what
deserve to hear.
I deserve because at least you look at me and tell me. I think someone told. Shout out to Eddie. I remember Eddie was like, "You guys are amazing girls." I remember he said that to us, and I'm like, "Yeah, I know that, I know that." But for you to see that is yes, and I know that for him, I know that he would want me to find a great guy. You know what I mean? He would want you to find a great guy. If you're my friend, if you're my guy friend, I want you to be at least like, yeah, there's really bad guys out there, but I want you to find a great one. And there is someone out there for you. That's great. That
I
deserves you.
under Yep, because I remember when we would be in those situations, I would call Elio. First of all, we'd be in those situations. You know what I'm playing? I'm playing SZA. I'm playing her. I'm playing the songs that got me through my breakup because why am I sad right now? Then I'm calling Ellie like Ellie. Like we had like a serious conversation about this. Like, yo, like when we interact with them and they say like, how do you feel when you go home? Like, cause I'm like, am I crazy that I'm letting this get to me, you know? And I think also because when you've been through some shit in relationships and you get to a point where you're healed or healing, because healing's a forever journey, but you get to that breaking point where you are longer negative and don't no longer have a negative outlook on relationships and you have hope to find something good and you get to that point, it took you forever to get to that point, then you're hearing these people say the complete opposite and it's like, bro, you are dismantling everything I worked so hard for because you don't know the amount of days I stayed in bed not eating and crying and all of this. So for me to even get to this mindset was a fight, and you're discrediting my battle, and we're not gonna do that. So then I remember me and Ellie literally had a serious conversation like, yo, like, how do you feel? Like, I don't feel good. Like, I literally feel sad. I feel stupid. I feel like I'm wasting my time. I feel this and that. And then we had to make that decision like, yo, like, it was a situation where we were around these people multiple times a month and we were just kind of like, we got to cut it. We got to cut it down. like Ellie
Yeah.
said, love them. Love them. They're just different life, different experiences, different aspects they want for their own future that doesn't align with ours, which is great because it's not like we're trying to be their partners, but it's like I can't be around that negative energy and still expect myself to find what I want.
Yeah.
And you just got to
And
make those
that's what you
decisions.
and what you said right there is that to get that hope back after you've been hurt takes a lot. Hope is literally what a lot of girls are losing. Hope that after they go through something, that there is hope that there's actually a great guy out there for them. And to have that ounce of hope is a lot. And that's what I had. I had hope. I'm like, God, there's no way I'm this good, this fly. I know how to treat, I know that I'm going to treat a man great. I know that for sure. There's no way I know this about myself, and there's no way you're not gonna send me a great guy. There's no way. Like, you better get it together and like send me my man, because there's no way. There's absolutely no. And I had that hope. I had that hope I was going to find. I was going to find a great guy. And I remember I was talking to my cousin Carlanta, and I was just like, yeah, it's kind of funny to actually pray for a husband. I think it's or pray for a good guy. I don't know. It's weird. God, can you please send me a great like I never prayed for men. You know, they're available. But to pray for a great guy, to actually find a great guy, yeah, you gotta pray for that. You gotta pray for that. And I remember she's like, you know yourself. You know when you pray for something, you actually get it. And I remember that first night, I actually knelt like I kneeled down and I prayed to God. And I was like, God, it was so weird. I was like, I never felt so uncomfortable praying for something. I was like, God, um, yeah, I want a man. I want a great guy, God. I want an amazing man. I remember just like saying all the things I want, and man, I tell you, you gotta like that whole Sierra prayer. You gotta have your own prayer. I know everyone's like, oh, I want that Sierra prayer. You need to have that your own prayer because it's really if people out here really finding men without prayer, good for you. I remember Viola Davis even said, even for her husband, she prayed and she met him. So I'm like, if y'all really finding guys, good guys out here without prayer, God, you're one of God's favorite soldier. And I know God don't have no favorites, but I know for sure I had to 100% pray for what I have now. So like just a good relationship. And God forbid if it doesn't, I could literally say that this my first relationship was one of the healthiest. And if God forbid it ends in a certain way, I don't see how it could end in a terrible way, but I could black girls, black women, and every woman doesn't need to be in a relationship where they're suffering. And I am so happy to be like, I am in a relationship where there's no hurt and I'm just happy. There's security, you know? I don't have to be like, oh, this is. I don't think I had a conversation with Tati. Tati definitely know. I'll be like, this nigga, guess what this nigga did? Come on. I don't know. I think this is the first guy that I actually been with that I don't think me and Tati bashing. Ugh. But
No,
it's
no,
good.
no bashing.
No bashing over here. So it's good. I think every girl deserves to be in a happy, healthy relationship.
I remember I was listening to B Simone and Megan Ashley's podcast. No, for sure. If you guys haven't listened, and me and Ellie were talking about podcasts, it's like we relate to them. Like if we could pick a podcast we're going to compare ourselves to, it's going to be more so them because it's kind of they have a really good balance of talk about fuck shit and toxicity, but it's like God and like all of this stuff, and and I think they are a very good representation of multifaceted women and how black women can be in a season of healing, can swear, can be goofy, but also believe in God and be convicted in all in their word and all of this. And one thing Megan said was just kind of like, God is not going to bless you with what you want if you do not know how to handle what he's given you already.
Mm.
Ever since she said that, I was like, oh wow. Like, and I've applied that to like almost every aspect of my life. Like, even the simplest of like, I'm a messy person. That's just me. I'm
Mhm.
messy. I think it's because I was the only child and I never had to share space. So it's like I didn't have anyone like, that's just me. And I want a house. And I'm just like, why would God give you a house if you can't even keep the one room you have clean? How are you going to handle a house? Like simple things like that. It's like, okay, like over the summer I was on a financial journey. Shout out to Jada. And I really wanted to get my credit score up. My one of my big goals was to, like, once I'm done with school, I'm gonna start traveling more. I want to get a travel credit card. And I was doing research and I was talking to Ellie about this all the time, doing research. And I was just like, okay, with the credit card I want, this is the credit score I need. I'm like, oh, I don't got that credit score. Worked hard, paid off the credit cards I had, blah, blah, blah. Got that credit score, got that card. But I know God was going to be like, why am I going to give you a big girl credit card with this X limit when you can't even pay off the credit card with this little limit? Like, why would I give you more when you can't deal with what you have now?
Mhm.
And I say this to say it's kind of like like I said, the same thing. Sometimes we confuse comfort with being good. And sometimes you're stuck in a relationship, situationship, blah, 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 where it's negative and it's toxic. Granted, if
Mhm.
some situationships and whatever sneaky links work and it's perfect, it's for what it is, that is great. But those ones that it's not, the ones where it's just like blocking your blessing is so real because God is probably looking at it like, why am I gonna give you new fruit when you don't even know when to throw the rotten ones away? Why would I
Come.
do that? You have something rotting in your hand and you can't even realize you got to throw it away, but yet you want new fresh fruit. What are you going to do with that? What are you going to
Mhm.
do with that?
Mm.
And baby,
Mhm.
I'm getting goosebumps.
You're
Not
preaching.
God giving me a word to
Preach.
say today on this
Preach.
glorious Sunday that we're recording on. Lord,
Amen.
I feel it.
Hallelujah.
I feel it. We gotta throw it away. Yo, they're not worth it. They're not worth it. They're not worth it. Yo, and like this is not meant to be a men bashing episode, but sis, what is he giving you besides dick?
Throw the man.
What
Throw the man away.
else?
Throw him away, and I promise you,
Roll
your
the
blessing.
rotten fruit away. Like,
Mhm.
stop compromising yourself physically, emotionally, and mentally. You're wasting yourself away. You're
Mhm.
wasting yourself away. You are having multiple abortions for someone who doesn't give a fuck about you. Granted, I am pro abortion. I am pro choice. I am pro protecting yourself and not being stuck with someone you know is not good for you. But why
Mhm.
are you putting yourself in this position to now take
Mhm.
these drugs, to now go through under these procedures for someone who does not care about you? Why?
Mhm.
Why? But
Yeah.
yet you want a
And
good man?
here
But
you
you
are
want a good
asking
man?
about a husband. And you asking about a husband.
You
God
can't
is
even
looking.
clean this up.
He's looking at you like, baby girl, get it together. Get it
Get it
together.
together.
Get
What
it
are you
together.
gonna do with this good man when you got this fuck nigga? You can't even get out your bed.
Mm.
Where is the good man gonna sleep? Where is this man going to lay his head at night when you still
Mhm.
have Tyrone in the bed next to you, sis?
Not
Where?
Tyrone. Mm-mm.
Like,
Mm.
we have to get it together and we're playing out. Can we be mad at the men? We can, but can we be mad at the men for real?
Sometimes we're playing ourselves, man. I honestly been been there, can say that. I know I was playing myself, girl. You blocking your blessing for sure.
I know I was
And
playing.
the thing is, God had to allow me to get hurt. And here's my blame, because baby girl, me, I could have gotten out long time. Girl, you could have made the decision to leave. But God was like, you want to see something? Bet. I'm gonna allow you to get hurt. And it's gonna be good. And you're gonna feel it. And then you're gonna see what I did for you. And that's exactly what he did. And I was just like, and I went to therapy for this because I was upset with myself for so long. Because I'm like, how did I allow that? Because when you sit back and you think about, damn, how did I allow someone to hurt me like that when I know I don't deserve that? And I'm just like, oh, so it had to happen like that for me to even walk away. Am I that blind? Am I that stupid? And it's just crazy as women the things we allow to happen. But here we are knowing we deserve better. Like we literally do deserve better. And here we are allowing certain things and allowing certain men into our life. Once he shows you who he is, and it doesn't align with the guy you want, baby, leave. Walk away. And if you don't walk away, if you had walked away when you knew you would have walked away, you wouldn't have been that hurt. But then here God sees that, okay, my child is a little stupid. Okay? So I'm gonna help her out a little bit. And here he is now, and the only way I think that is the best way for him to show you is to hurt you. But he gonna help you. He gonna mend you, build you up, give you the best out of the best after. But he's gonna allow you to get hurt. That's literally the reality of things.
But that is 1,000% true because it wasn't until, hindsight is 2020. Me looking back, I'm like, yo, God was talking to me throughout my whole relationship, telling me to
Mm.
get out in multiple ways. I saw, ways I didn't see, ways that went over my head, ways I saw what he was saying and chose to ignore. And
Mm.
God, like I said, and I made that prayer. I was like, God, something's not right. And I was like, I literally felt crazy because the gaslighting was insane. And I was like, if this is not meant for me, show me. And a month later, I was shown. And it's like, God didn't want me to hurt that bad. God didn't want that, but I wasn't listening to him. I was choosing not to listen. And that's another thing, like, which I pray for continuously now, especially on this journey to find my husband, is I pray that I know how God communicates with me and I'm able to see I pray that I'm able to find our communication the same way we have love languages. I want to find me and God's how we communicate because once I am able to know when he is talking, once I'm able to hear and comprehend how he communicates to me, I won't have to get hurt again. Granted,
Mm.
hurt meaning like, okay, granted, life, you get hurt. Even when I hear God talking, is it, and I have to break it off, is it going to be a little sad? Yeah, but it's not going to be me wasting 5 years like I did the last time and then being down and out for years of healing and recovery. It's not going to be that. It's going to be shorter. It's going to be sweeter. It's going to be, I'm able to bounce back a little bit more. And this is why you got to pray to the God. How do you need me to hear you? Open my eyes. Are you showing me through signs? Am I literally going to hear your voice? Do I have to go to church? How do you want to communicate with me? For I can know and I can save myself this pain for next time.
I
Mm.
like that. I never thought of that. Like how we have love languages, we need to find our communication. And I feel
Mhm.
like with my process, I know I talked about in the previous episode of me moving, I feel like God connects and communicates with me silently, and in the sense of like when he communicates with me silently, it's through action. I find myself doing things, but then my prayers are aligning with what I'm doing. And I remember in previous situations, in situations that while dating someone that didn't serve me, I remember just praying and just saying like, I don't even know how this happened. It's just like, God, just remove anybody in my life that is not supposed to be there. But I'm like, I never made prayers like that before. Who am I to even pray of that? Like, not God about to remove some of my friends. No, God did not remove any of my friends because I knew my friends weren't the people. Why am I not saying who I want God to remove in my life? But I'm praying for God to remove someone in my life. And as I already knew, the person I want God to remove, but couldn't say it. And here I am saying it, and actions could have been taken, but God's like, okay, bet you're not gonna take those actions. I'm showing you. Okay, bet. Here we go. We're gonna start doing those actions, and that's exactly what he did. But you gotta listen. It's and I say this so weird because maybe it sounds weird when I say this, but for me, communicating with God is it's so I gotta be silent, and then it's just like I. It's like my thought process is more of him communicating with him. It's just like I'm silent, and it's just like, okay, Ellie, you need to do this and you need to do that. And I feel like that's how, with the past experience I've had, I feel like that's how he communicates with me. It's silent. I need to listen to him quietly, and he guides me to do what I need to do. That's my communication with him.
But literally though, like you have to be still in order to hear him. You can't hear him in necessarily chaos. You have to be still. Sorry, y'all. And you have to be willing to hear him as, ooh, let me drink some water. And you have to be willing to hear him as well. Like
Hmm.
even just with those whole job situation, when they said, okay, it wouldn't look like 2 days at the school, and now you're gonna be working 5 days. In my mind, I already was like, okay, if I'm really gonna be working 5 days, okay, let me try to figure out a schedule. Okay, maybe Mondays I can do this here, Tuesday I can do this here, da 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 da, to try to make it work. And I'm just like, you know what, stop, because you're gonna give yourself anxiety trying to make up a schedule of a job you don't even have yet. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna take a moment, we're gonna pray. You're gonna write down the prayer. Because my original thing with God before any of this was part time, part time, part time. That's what I wanted. That's what I wrote. That's what I was like, God, this is it. Me and him agreed on it. Now I'm trying to change our plan that we already created to fit someone else who's not affected by our plan. So then it's like I had to take a moment, and now I'm trying to work out this full time schedule. It's like, sis, why are you working out this full time schedule when you and God already agreed to part time? The answer is there, but you got to be still to remember that this is why this is happening. Because God is showing you, we already know what you're doing. Why,
yeah,
like, stop. The reason you can't go to the school, because if you go to school, it's full time. You can't do full time. You have to do part time. We already settled this. Stop
yeah,
trying to dig it up and change it. This is already done. So you really got to be still, listen to him, and don't change your plans that he's already created for you. Don't
like he
change the
says,
agreement you've already made with him.
yeah, like he says, be still and know that I am God. Like we gotta be
Mhm.
still with everything that we do. And I think with our episode, this episode is just like whether you're in the season of your life where you're done with your professional life and now you're moving on to your personal life. It's like I want a man. I need to
Mhm.
find a husband. Or whether you already have the man and you want to lean more towards your professional life.
Mhm.
It's just you gotta really just, be still and let him guide you
Mhm.
through it all.
And be
And
intentional with it.
be
Like I said,
intentional.
figure it out. Like I really had, I felt lazy. I was like, who am I to finish graduating school? You've been working part-time for over a year now for you to say, huh, you don't want to go to full-time work? Like, what was the purpose of you getting your degree? You want the money, you're trying to move out. Full time is best. You save. Everyone is telling me, yeah, work full time, save as much as you can, da da da. Then you can get at your mom's house. Then you can do this, da 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 da. And I'm just like, but I know my plan. My plan is to find a man, and I can't do that with not saying full time, but with my career and what full time means in my specific field. Full time, realistically, and they told me this straight up, is probably working honestly 55 hours, to be honest, because out the all the stuff you have to do outside of the work time. So it's like,
And don't
no.
allow and don't allow anybody to make you feel stupid. Like I said, I don't know why for us successful black women to make it seem so stupid to be like, I want a husband now. It's time. I'm done focusing on my professional life. I've achieved everything I want. Now I want a husband. It's so hard for us to say it. Honestly, I think you're the first person that literally has said it like that. And like I said, it's been embarrassing for me in the past to even be like, God, I want a husband now, or I want a husband. And I think that we need to start doing that. It's okay, and you shouldn't feel embarrassed that actually, yeah, I'm only working, you said 30 hours, right? 30 hours for me to
32. Mhm.
focus on me finding my husband. You should not be embarrassed 100% because with the career you have, in order to actually go out and meet people, you actually need to have the time. So I don't think
Mhm.
you should feel embarrassed, and I don't think any woman should feel embarrassed to be like, all right, now I am focused on finding my husband. I want to find my husband. It should
Mhm.
be normal. We should normalize it. It shouldn't be weird for us to say it at all.
At all. Guys, we could keep talking about this for a minute. This may have to be a part two later on in the year. but we are already over an hour. And y'all know we don't even be giving you long episodes like that, like that. But when God is saying speak, you gotta speak. So I really feel like this episode was meant for someone. Like I really, and if it was meant for you, can you like DM us and let us know? Because like I said, we don't really be giving you long episodes like this. Maybe it's because we're just getting back into it. We miss it. But this episode was personal. This episode was God using us to drop these gems. And if it was meant for you, if you're in a season of your life, you're trying to find that person, you're trying to navigate career and personal or whatever, trying to find your person, and this helped you, let us know. Let us know. But guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. This has been one of my favorites that we recorded, honestly. Thank you guys for tuning in. And as always, follow us. I was gonna say follow us on Instagram, and I was gonna give our at girlfriendsguide_podcast. But yeah, follow us on Instagram under girlfriendsguide_podcast. And then our episodes come out every other Monday, and then our videos come out every other Wednesday. This will all make sense on why I made that awkward little pause just now. Hopefully, like I said, we record early, so things are in the works, and hopefully by when this releases, it will no longer be in the works and everyone will know. So thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you guys. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.